Okay, guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Nicola Flood, the Queen of Health here, and I'm delighted today that we have Jessi Kavanagh with us. And I just can't wait to ask her loads of questions from weight training to food to image, everything. So we're really looking forward to having the chat. I've worked with Jessi probably over the last 10 years, so I know what she's all about, but I really want to showcase and show you how lifting weights and looking after your body can really have a benefit. So, Jessi, you're very welcome
Thank you
to
for
ours
having me.
to my channel. So, look, let's get started. I know everything about you. I know how you train and how hard you train, but for those people that are new and listening, just a little bit about yourself and your background before we get into the questions.
Yeah, okay. So I'm a personal trainer first and foremost. And I have been doing that well, I've been in the fitness industry for 18 years. So like I started, it's pretty much all I've ever done. I started when I was 17, and that's yeah, literally it. So I personal train clients. I help clients predominantly with weight loss. I work mainly with women, and just to get them to not just to lose weight, but to weight train,
Mm,
to just change their lives really for the better from a health and fitness perspective. And
amazing.
I do that online as well. And then obviously I'm a professional bikini athlete as well with the IFBB Pro League. So those two things are it seems like they're the same, but although they're in the same kind of industry, they're quite different. So it's my bodybuilding and what I do with my clients are actually very different things, although the kind of base of it is the same.
And one of the questions, like from, working with you and learning about weight training, and like I've seen it, how it just transforms your body, right? But when I mention it to my clients, it's like, oh my God, I'm going to look like a man, but that's completely wrong, right?
Yeah.
Share that with, what are the benefits of actually lifting up a weight? Because most women think that if they're walking the streets or if they go into a gym and they just do the treadmill, that's it, but it's not about that. So yeah, your view on that.
No, not at all. I mean, weight training, I mean, definitely I know a lot of people think that they're going to get big and they're going to gain loads of muscle. Like from a bodybuilding perspective, I wish it was that easy. Like
Yeah.
it's not at all. That's not it's really for women. If you're trying to get in shape or to lose weight, like your first thing should be weight training.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
cardio, the treadmill, all of that is secondary. The
Mhm.
weight training is where the magic really happens, and especially for females, like you are not going to lay down muscle and get this mass to your body if you go in and you lift weights.
Mhm.
You're going to find that obviously you're going to get stronger, but
Mm.
just not just from an appearance perspective, but just for how you feel in yourself,
Mm.
the strength in your body, and how it changes how your body works.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable.
Because if it's done right, you can transform the shape of your body. I know for years I used to suffer with, thunder ties as such, but as soon as I started working with you, it was like, oh my God, what has just happened? So it's like it melts away the fat where you can't get to when you're just walking or,
It
doing.
it definitely, like, you can, from an aesthetic perspective, you can completely transform the shape of your body,
Mm,
without gaining unnecessary size.
yeah.
And like that, if you have somebody who, I know a lot of women might store the majority of their body fat, let's say, around their midsection, and
Mhm.
then their legs maybe are quite lean. If we can kind of build the legs and get a nice shape and tone to the legs, and reduce the body fat around the waist, and
Mhm.
bring a little bit of definition up in the upper body, and you have this lovely lean kind of, I don't like to use the word toned because but I know that most people will understand that that's the power of it. It can
Yeah.
transform your shape, and transform how your body uses food as well, which is a very important part of weight loss. So
And
it's
I think 100% there, where sometimes people, you can't out train a bad diet, as they say, which is so true. And for those embarking on, a new fitness for 2024, they have to look at their food too. Yeah. You can't just go to the gym, lift weights and transform your body.
no. again, I tried to out train a bad diet. It can't be done. It
Yeah.
really, really can't. It has to, you have to look at everything. If you're trying to lose weight and really transform,
Hmm.
it's about so many different factors. So your base really is the nutrition,
Yeah.
and then your weight training, and then cardio, and then potentially looking at additional supplements and things like that. But
Yeah.
there's no point in working your way up if your diet isn't on point. And that's not
100%.
just calories, it's what you're eating as well. But all of it plays a part. And
Hmm.
it's about that's one of the things that I'll work with clients is finding that balance
Yeah.
where it works, because you also have to, if you're trying to change your nutrition, it has to be something that's sustainable.
Yeah.
And that can look slightly differently for different people. So it's about
Mhm.
finding that kind of balance. But it's always going to start with the food. If the food's not on point, even if you're weight training, those positive changes are happening, but
Yeah.
you're not going to see the aesthetic side of it if your food isn't on point.
So as I say to people, it's a lifestyle change. This is not like a 12-week program. You do it and then you go back to old habits. You have to work with the likes of yourself, a coach, and be coached. So you know what's happening along the way and the journey. But from we've spoken about bodybuilding, and when people say bodybuilding and different images spring to mind. What
Yeah.
is what is bodybuilding and how did you get into it?
So, like, I mean, bodybuilding, I suppose that term is quite broad
Mm,
as a competitor. So I am a bikini athlete. So within the sport of bodybuilding, you have all these different divisions.
right.
So traditionally, like at the start, it was just kind of male bodybuilders. I suppose the Arnold Schwarzenegger type thing
Yes.
that people would visualize, and then you kind of have the female counterpart to that. But over the years,
Mm.
it's evolved, and now you have all of these different classes. And you still have to make your body fit into that class, but the criteria is very different. So for me, so bikini, we would be the smallest, like absolutely. It's and there's very strict criteria to how we need to look. So if
Mhm.
somebody does look too muscular, they're going to be marked down. If somebody is too lean, they're going to be
Mhm.
marked down. There's all these different factors, because the idea of bikini, although it's an extreme version, the idea of bikini is to show what happens when women weight train and follow a healthy lifestyle and diet. So
Yeah,
it's to showcase that really.
amazing. And along your journey, you now are a professional in your field. How did that happen? How long did it take for you to get to that status? And I think are you the only professional in Ireland at the moment?
No, there's
In
there's one more. There's
Okay,
there's there's this one more in bikini. We actually it's great now. Ireland has quite a few professionals
great.
across the different divisions. But there's myself and another girl who are the two bikini pros. I was the first, so
Okay, you first, which is a great achievement. And how did you get to that status? What did you have to do?
oh God, that took me a long time. I'm trying to years now. I got that in 2019. The start of 2019, I got my professional status, and I did my very first bodybuilding show at the start of 2012. Now it's a funny one because I won't go too into it, but
Mm,
it's very hard to get your professional status initially.
yeah.
So in Ireland, if you won at a national level, you'd then go on international. And then if you won at international, you still might not get your professional status. There was a lot. And that was the same, not just in Ireland, that was for Europe.
Yeah.
Uh, but then the federations, it was kind of two federations that had kind of merged together, I suppose, and then they separated.
Mhm.
And then it made it, as I won't use the term easy, but it made it as accessible for people in Europe to get their professional status as it had been in America.
Okay.
So now we kind of work under that one umbrella. So for the amateurs, it's the NPC. For the professionals, it's the IFBB Pro League.
Mhm.
And we work under that. So it was something that was available really beforehand.
Yeah.
We were working towards it, but it still wasn't really as available.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Great.
2019 muscle
Brilliant.
contest. It was fantastic.
Fantastic achievement. And I think when people, if they start to follow you and they don't know or they've never lifted weights or they haven't gone down that kind of journey yet, they can look at your posts and they kind of bypass determination, the dedication. Like I see it, I know you go into prep and it's pure dedication because that's your profession. So, what's involved when you go into prep for a competition? It's not just about cutting calories. What's the whole journey look like?
It's a, it's a long, I suppose, an intense process. So, for example, right now I'm in my off season, so I don't have a show coming up. So people will kind of say like, "Oh, are you taking a nice break?" And there's no break when I'm not preparing for a show, as in I'm trying to get lean for a show. I'm now in the process of trying to build more muscle before I actually start a prep. So whether you're on season or off season, the same amount of work is involved. It's just different.
Okay.
But prep itself, as in the lead up to a competition, because for those who don't understand, I don't walk around all year absolutely ripped with like full abs and veins. That's only I only hold that for a few days, really.
Yeah.
So the process to get that lean, we would take maybe 16 weeks. I'd start maybe 16 weeks from my first competition. I work with a coach and he looks after absolutely everything. And it's a process of trying to bring down the body fat to really nearly as low as you can get it and maintain the muscle mass. So in the process of losing fat, you can in turn start to burn into muscle or even just change how that muscle looks if you let your body get kind of too depleted and too stringy. So it's constantly trying to find that balance that we're losing enough body fat every single week while keeping the muscle looking as well as it can and as full as it can. So that's a process like that that's hugely diet. Like this is, and you've seen, like I have to eat, guys. It is strict, and there is no room for error.
Yeah.
And there is no room. Like I've had people say, Ashley, do you have a sneaky? No.
And you
There's no
don't. I've seen
sneaky.
it.
And I don't.
You go to family occasions, you have your food with you. It's a next level of dedication and but that's your profession. That's what you need to do and it stands to you. But for anybody that's listening going, oh, I think I'll give that a go or I'd love to get into that. People need a coach, right? They can't just jump on and do it on their own because like you said, it's like maths, really.
Yeah. It's funny because the clients that I have, the people that I look after are just everyday, mostly mums, and people who just want to get in shape. I don't look after bodybuilders. I don't prep people for shows. I help people with their posing. That's about as far as I go. Because I personally, I wouldn't have it in me to put somebody through that. And whenever anyone, I don't mean, maybe if somebody's competed, I get this lot, they might come to me for advice and I can point them in the right direction. And sometimes though I might get the odd client or the odd person who'll go, I've never done a show. This is my life. I just want to do it to challenge myself. And I will say, okay, let's have a conversation. And I will tell them every single negative about competing, what it actually means, what it actually takes. And they all kind of, even halfway, even before I've finished saying what I'm saying, I can see them like backing out. Okay, it is a very niche sport. It is not for 99.9% of people, and that's fine. It's not supposed to be. It is, and most people will look at what I do and go, Jesus, I couldn't do that. And I say, yeah, and that's okay that you couldn't do that. That's quite normal that you don't want to go to family dues and eat out of a lunchbox. That's okay. It is just it's a very, like I said, niche and specific that is only going to suit very small amount of people.
Yeah, because one of the questions that I have there is like, as women, we are bombarded every day. We pick up magazines, we look at the front covers, and I know, years ago I used to look at them and go, oh my God, how do they do that? I look after myself, but I never have a six-pack 12 months of the year. So I think it's nice to kind of put it into context, like what you're saying. Even those women that are on magazines, they don't have that six-pack for 12 months of the year. They've gone into a prep for a photo shoot. Yeah.
I'm a professional athlete. I don't have a six-pack all year. I don't have a six-pack right now. And so it's, don't, you definitely have to be careful with that if you're looking at athletes especially,
Mm.
um, and especially people who compete, because we have all these amazing pictures, and of course you want to take pictures and you want to showcase all your hard work, but it is important.
Yeah.
Now, I think most competitors will share that.
Yeah.
A lot of competitors definitely do, and everyone's much more open about it now. This is how I look in my off season. This is how I look in, my
Mhm.
prep. I try to show that as much as I can as well, so people can see.
Yeah, the transparency. Yeah. And I think it's great because, people that don't, know about the lifestyle, just they think that's the way women are meant to, not meant to look, but should I be looking like that? Should I have that six
Yeah,
pack? But yeah,
yeah,
it's nice to know that, ladies, that won't look like that 12 months of the year. Not that it's unhealthy to look that way, as we're saying, because you're malnourished
yeah. Yeah.
as
And
such.
it's I know it obviously depends on body type and stuff,
Mm,
but like my abs don't make an appearance until very close to the show. Like I need to be lean. So
yeah,
for me to have abs, like visible abs, you can
yeah,
see the bones in my face. Like I look,
yeah,
and you see me, like I look like a skeleton in my face to get lean enough to actually
yeah.
see that definition. So there's no possible way.
Yeah. And I think you
So
explaining that now explains that when some people look at your posts and go, oh my God, she's starving herself, but there's a process. It's a journey and it's not always like that. So I think if people understand that, they can respect it, because I think we always judge a book by its cover without knowing the journey.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
the journey is, it's fascinating, and anyone that's interested, do kind of reach out to Jessi and ask the questions and see if it's for you. But going back then when you're not competing, because you put up a post yesterday and it even inspired me about the meal prep, and how it has to be, if you want to be healthy, if you want to lose weight or, maintain weight, you have to meal prep. Because if not, even the most, like even ourselves, you'd be in the shop buying a wrap or something, because, temptation is always there. But
Yeah.
what does a day look like for you, a normal day when you're out working food wise? So from breakfast right through, I'd say people are
So
really
like
eager to know.
for food, and again, this is not in a prep. This is just how I live. And the reason I posted that yesterday is because I had so many clients who were like, it's January, I'm supposed to be doing this, and I'm actually even worse than I was in December. So I was just kind of trying to show this is what I do every week to keep me, again, not even to try to stay lean or to try to keep on track. Even if it wasn't, even if you weren't eating healthy,
Mm.
what the hell are you going to eat if you don't pre-plan?
Yeah.
So I would never leave the house in the morning to go to work without my food.
Mm.
I would never. I bring breakfast, and I'm lucky. I know how my day is going to be. If I can cook a meal fresh at home, I will do it. But I still know what I'm going to cook. Even if I'm cooking it fresh, I'm not going into Tesco at 6 o'clock in the evening. Oh, what will we have?
Hmm.
I'll get a packet of pasta. Shit, we'll just get a takeaway because I have nothing planned. I always know what I'm going to have.
Yeah.
And that just whether you're doing that healthy or not, that makes your life so much easier. That's less decisions that you have to make every day.
Yeah.
So just from that perspective, it's easier.
Yeah.
But I will always have my breakfast with me, which is usually porridge of some description with some protein powder and some fruit or some nut butter. I
Hmm.
normally make a shake or a smoothie then in between.
Yeah.
And then depending on where I am, sometimes I'm going through a bit of an eggs phase. So I'll have eggs when I get in, definitely, and I like to make that fresh.
Hmm.
If I know I'm going to be out, I'll probably bring chicken, salad, rice, or potato, but I always
Yeah.
have it pre-done.
Yeah.
And like I said in that post, if you have your breakfast ready and a snack,
Hmm.
and then in the evening, if you cook a healthy dinner and just double up
Hmm.
and then put half in the lunchbox, and then just do that every day, you have your lunch for the next day, dinner something fresh every night, you have your breakfast and your snack, and you just work off a rotation.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be really hard. Like people are
Hmm.
like, I wish I had time to meal prep. You don't have time not to meal prep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it only takes that video that I did literally took me 10 minutes, and that was
Hmm.
all my breakfast for the week.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to put any work in.
Because I
So
think
it's
if
just,
it,
go ahead.
sorry for cutting in, if people were even to take on board one meal at a time and even meal prep their breakfast for next week, and they go, oh my
Mhm.
God, this is easy, because it's one thing that I found is that if I don't meal prep, it's like something feels off. and it's like, I need to be prepped, and it just fits into your routine. And I know a lot of people will say I don't have time, because women especially put on other people's oxygen masks. They're looking after everybody else, and we do need to look after ourselves, and we need to start with us, because if we get sick, then nobody else is looked after. So I think it's really
Absolutely.
important. Yeah, really,
Absolutely.
really
And even
important.
if you look at that, especially with mums, mums spend so much time, of course, getting their children's things ready for school the next day. Like, would you just send your child out the door with no food?
Yeah.
Of course not. Mums put so much time into that meal prep for their children. And I know it's easier said than done, because you're trying to look after the kids, you're trying to work, you're trying to do so many things. It's so overwhelming.
Yeah.
But if you can find, even if it's on for an hour on a Sunday, where you just organize your food, and even like you look at that meal prep video I didn't cook anything.
No. Yeah.
Pre-cooking, I was just preparing the amounts, so I knew my measurements, and it just made it easier in the evening then to grab.
Yeah.
Just a little bit for yourself. That little bit of time for yourself. That is, what's the term everybody uses? Self-care.
Yes, exactly. So
Self-care, and they're in the bath. They're a bit of
important.
self-care. That for me is the ultimate self-care.
Yeah.
That is what self-care is looking at taking that little bit of time.
And you feel so much better, because like that, you've taken the time for you, and that self-care piece. You mentioned protein. So, I would work with a lot of women that are going through, say, perimenopause and suffering with hormones. But when you start to really go into their diets and look, protein is missing. What would be your advice for them to get protein in the quickest way? Easiest way, should I say?
The easiest way, the easiest way, what I generally say to my clients, is to try to have protein with every meal. And that's if you have somebody whose nutrition is all over the place, and they're in one side and you want to get them to the other side. And rather than giving this big overwhelming thing of things they need to change and things they need to do, that's the first thing that I'll say is, let's look at your food. Where can we add protein? And sometimes it can be as simple as, like, some people nearly have no protein, as in a complete protein source. So there's bits and pieces going in, or what people think is a protein. So like, I had somebody, it was only 2 or 3 weeks ago, loading flax seeds and nut butter into their porridge, and I was like, you just fill that with fat. Like, they're good fats, but are they not protein? I wouldn't class those. I know they have some protein, but that's not a complete protein source, and it's definitely not going to be enough.
100%.
So it's people's perception of what actually has protein. And enough of a serving for that meal. So it's just about looking across the board and where can it be added.
Because it's one of the key things that will keep people feeling fuller for longer. It'll switch off that hunger hormone, and really it is something for people to try, definitely. And then for those that are now kind of, okay, I think I want to start lifting weights, what's the benefits of weightlifting for women?
Geez, well, from it's such a broad spectrum. So if we're looking at aesthetics or just looking at health, and especially, I know you were talking there about perimenopause, that muscle wastage causes a huge amount of problems. And really, after our 20s, we start to lose that muscle tone. And that can be the difference in not just how you look, in how you feel. Every 5 years you get older, every 10 years you get older, it completely changes, how your body looks, how you feel, your strength, your posture, your bones. Like, that is a huge thing. I have so many female clients coming to me now in their 50s and 60s just to try to counteract osteoporosis. So from that perspective, and an aesthetic perspective to how your body's actually going to look, the muscle toned. And again, it's not about, you don't have to do what I do and try to actually constantly building, lean tissue, but it's about actually keeping the muscle working, keeping those fibers. It's just the most beneficial thing I honestly believe that a woman can do.
And I think, I've seen many people that lift weights, and it's like that, I don't know if it's through the growth hormone or whatever, but it makes you look younger.
Yeah.
I've seen.
If you look at the process of weight training, you're tearing the muscle fibers.
Mm,
So it is actually, it's when you leave the gym, it's not in that session. You know, if you go in and you lift weights, you tear those fibers, you've not built that muscle
yeah.
in that session. It's the tearing of the fibers and then your body repairing that tissue
Yeah.
that
I,
builds the muscle
yeah.
and
I
causes
know.
that
Sorry,
growth
what?
hormone.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I know
and
you're
that's
good.
the concern. If you're forcing the body to renew itself,
Mm,
it's
yeah.
that's where those kind of growth hormone benefits come in.
Amazing. And I always say to people, if they're going to invest in a gym membership, don't go in and walk on a treadmill. Don't go in and do your cardio. Go outside, get sunshine, get vitamin D doing that, and do your weights in the gym.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know like a lot of people struggle with the intimidation of doing that. Um, and so many people, and that's why a lot of people come to me because they don't want to go
Mhm.
into the gym and they're like, well, you know, people are looking at me and I see the bodybuilders in there and the people in really good shape. And, you know, I'm afraid they're going to look at me like, and I'll always say, like, this is coming from me. They're looking at themselves. They're not looking at you.
Yeah.
They're looking at themselves. They don't nobody. So it's so important to know that if you do go into the gym, nobody cares.
Hmm.
Everybody, even just in general, everybody's just focused on themselves. You know,
Yeah.
it's just what if you know you walk through town, you walk through somewhere busy, everyone's just going where they're going, they're focused on what they're doing, and that's what most people in the gym are doing. So it's I think once you get over that fear,
Hmm.
it it becomes so much easier every time you go. But obviously, you do, of course, need to know what to do first. I think it's more people going
100%.
like they don't know.
Yeah, it's the fear of the what's that machine do? Will I
Yes,
look silly? So that's why like a personal trainer, because I know when I worked with you initially like that, I was like, oh my God, I don't want to go into a gym because I was petrified. But when you showed me and broke, you broke everything down into the body parts, which I had never heard of, a leg day, an upper body day.
yeah,
Um, it made it so much easier then to actually go in on my own. And again, it took probably a couple of months to build that courage to actually feel comfortable. But I think working with a personal trainer is really a must if nobody's ever lifted
yes,
weights
yeah,
before. Yeah,
yeah. It is a great place to start just to
yeah,
get that confidence.
yeah. And what would be just to finish off then, what would be your top three motivators or hints or tips for people getting started on a journey of health and wellness? Would you
So
have
the
this?
first, the first, again, there's probably a few answers there, but the first
Yeah.
thing, and I'm going to use this one because I'm saying it to people every single day at the moment. I'm saying it to
Mhm.
my clients, is to not overwhelm yourself.
Mhm.
Is to not think that you have to change absolutely everything from the get-go.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens. People think I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this, and then they go, you know, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
So, like we were saying about the protein, what can I do this week
Mhm.
to make me better than last week? And that might just be, okay, this week I'm going to have protein with every meal. Next week, I'm going to have protein with every meal, and I'm going to make sure I get 2 liters of water in a day. The following week, I'm going to do those two things and make
Mhm.
sure I walk every day.
Yeah.
And then you can maybe say, and then when I'm comfortable, then
Mhm.
I might start to go to the gym or I might get a trainer, or I might do this. But it's about knowing that you don't have to do everything
Yeah.
all at the one time.
Yeah.
And that it's okay to make mistakes. Let's say you have your
Mm.
meal plan, you have your week set out, you have your on top of your food, and then you go and you meet a friend for lunch and you think, I'll go on, sure, we'll have some cake. But that's on a Wednesday and you think, oh, sure, I've ruined it now. You've never
Yeah.
ruined it. Just get back onto the next meal.
Mhm.
Never think you ruined anything. You can't, and you can't undo anything, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, I went to the gym and then I had a cake. I've undone it. No, you haven't.
No.
You
Yeah.
haven't. You can't. It's not a thing. So
Yeah.
it's just not applying too much pressure and
Mhm.
being able to do things in manageable steps. And then the last thing, just with the nutrition, like I said at the start,
Mhm.
you follow a meal plan, whatever it is, whatever method
Yeah.
that you can be consistent with,
Yeah.
because consistency is always going to be the key. It's
Mhm.
always going to be the key.
Yeah. Like a lifestyle change. It's not, as we said,
Absolutely.
it's not a quick fix. You've got to work on this. And as you go in your journey, I think it develops, you learn more,
Yeah.
you educate yourself more. And for people now that are inspired and they're like, you don't have to go into a gym and have a personal trainer because you have an online app, which I use, and it's fantastic, where
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
literally show people with videos of how to do a machine or a lift let us, I'll put all your information down below as well, but where can people find you? And if they wanted to work online or in person with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, so probably my Instagram page is my biggest kind of, I suppose, source of leads, but I have my website there as well, so I can give you that. That's informfitness.ie, and that will give you the information on the personal training and the online coaching. So for anyone who's not in Dublin, or for people who, don't want to come in for the one-to-one, but they want that guidance. And that's really what most people need, is
Yeah.
just that guidance. This is what this is what to eat. This is how to exercise. Here's a video on how to do that exercise. Let me know when you've done it. I'll make sure it's all okay. And then we touch base every week, and I just keep on top of things for you. And then I can implement those little steps each week to get you where you need to be.
So guys, I will pop all of that info down below so you can just click and bring you directly to Jessi. But definitely, if you're interested in weights, you're interested in something new for 2024, working with a personal trainer, do check out Jessi's page and do check out the online app, which is fantastic. So Jessi, thank you so much for joining us today. And I can't wait for people to, to get their thoughts and feedback on what they thought of today's little chat. So thank you so much.